It's said that when the time reaches its darkest point, there's an awesome chance for the sun to return. It's like a fleeting moment of chance. Right before the end, humanity has a chance. I was just at the store hanging out with this Armenian dude that's a friend of mine, and he looked at me, he's like, "Have you ever heard of the New World Order?" And I just smiled, and I said, yeah, I have. So we spent a good 45 minutes discussing it, and he was in shock. He just said, I didn't think anyone else knew about this. And I said, man, there's a whole culture of people waking up to it. There's a whole culture of people fighting it and turning themselves into heroes and chasing it down and just kicking the shit out of it. And that made me feel really good. So I'm kind of on a good emotional high right now. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and it's not part of the order. I realize more and more the order was something that was kind of coming to an end, and that the spirits of this house were really pushing to make it public, to get this information out there, because it had been contained for too long. And the amount of information that we had wasn't being shared outside of the group, and there was a tainted book, a grimoire that they broke themselves against. So, in releasing the info, opening the order to anybody and everybody, those who are not a part of it, those who can't hang with it, those who would seek to twist it, that'll be the agent of their own destruction. For those of you who are having the experiences, who are slaying reptilians on the astral, you're making victories happen. You are improving the quality of humanity, and you are releasing the inner hero inside you. So I thought, man, if the Order's having these kind of experiences, what else can I do? And within my own personal family, within my Germanic occultic knowledge, I'm going to release today the Cult of the Bear. And this is something that I derive my Germanic name from, and I roll with this cult almost every day. And let me tell you a little bit about it. The bear cult is not the Native American bear cult, although there are some similarities between the two. And I've spoken with members of the Sun Bear cult from the Lakota and other groups, and I've told them what I know, just so they feel as though I'm not using their information. And they just kind of like, they'll sit back in awe and say, wow, it's that similar? And I've said, yeah, it's got to be. So I want you to know that I'm not stealing this information from the Native Americans, and that I hold a tremendous respect for what they do. This is a Germanic variant of it. So the deity over the bear cult is Thor. There is three primary older stories for animals that are within the cult of Thor, which is the bear, the eagle, the bull, and in old stories, the turtle, the big snapping turtle that is common here in North America, but is very rare now over in the Germanic areas, and I think maybe only in a few parts. So you really get the idea that this cult was broken up into sections and differed from group to group. I can only share with you the Cult of the Bear, my family's lineage. I can't say that for everybody else. I have stories that are of the different particular Germanic gods that are not written down in any of the Eddas, and I feel in a lot of ways were either hidden and kept safe, or they were erased completely, so we may never have them fully. The chariot, someone was telling me that the goat, because the chariot of Thor is pulled by the ram, that's not necessarily part of him. I have the story of where he got the chariot and whom he got it from. And that's a whole big wild story in and of itself. But the animals involved with Thor are the eagle, the bear, the bull, and in some cases the turtle. I am a member of all those particular cults. The cult, each of the animal cults with Thor has a specific astral entrance. With the eagle, it's the flying in the air. That makes sense. With the turtle, it's the shell going in within the shell and finding the universe inside the universe. With the bull, because the bull's connection with the moon is the portal to the astral world, and with the bear, it's the inside darkness underworld of the cave. So you have all these astral connections, and so they are astral doorways into G.O.O.D, or the astral world. All of them lead there. They're all valid paths. The one that I roll with the strongest is the bear cult. The bear cult under Thor is particularly involved with defense and attacking and mauling entities on the astral world. Much like the werewolf cults of Odin, the bear cults belong to the berserkers as well. And I have been able to manifest berserker rage inside myself. And let me tell you, the stories about what you hear are not necessarily all that overplayed. And it took me a long time to recover, and it's really is an art and a skill, and deep respect for those true old school berserkers. That's a real art form. Hopefully one day it'll come back into use. So the bear cult right now, the way that I was introduced to it, I was told about the process, and I'm going to give you the whole process on how to get initiated. Once you're initiated, you'll need to contact me so we can go further. But the initiation process into the bear cult is very important. You'll have to be marked. Now, some of you be like, oh, it's the mark of the beast. Stop it. It's not the mark of the beast. It's the mark of the bear. It's much cooler. And what that really means is that there has to be a wounding involved. So the wounding, much like we talked about Mars and Jupiter, the wounding takes a piece of you away and leaves a space. The space you fill is going to be with that bear energy. When I was younger and told about the bear cult, I finally had my particular dream. It's going to be different with each person. I don't expect it to be the same. But I was in a cave, and I could hear a thunderous pound wherever I went. Actually, I found an underground lake. And I'm going to leave the story about that one alone, because that has a deep occultic meaning. But I found an underground lake, and there was thunder all above me, and I knew I needed to get out, that my time was inside this mountain, because it was a sacred mountain within the Germanic tradition. Humans can only be there so long. I needed to run, and so I was running out, and there was all these different twisting tunnels, roots everywhere. I could see branches, skulls, bones, all those sort of things. I'm assuming of people who've been caught. And there is some occultic traditions of both bones and skulls that are not evil. So again, remember, Illuminati tradition versus other traditions, okay? The skull and bones and other traditions doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, okay? So this just means underworld connections, ancestral connections. So I'm running through this whole upward sprint trying to get out of this mountain. I know that Thor is the one pounding on the top of the mountain to make it quake. What I didn't realize at the time is he was waking up the great bear that lived underneath the mountain, which is another special thing you'll learn about if and when you join the cult. The bear wakes up, and I could feel this hot breath behind me, and I look back to realize that the entire mountain is a giant bear maw of teeth, and it comes down and it clamps on me, and I could feel the teeth, huge teeth, but in the astral world they weren't as big as I guess they could have been, go through me, okay? And I feel the pain of that, and suddenly everything went black and then exploded into a brilliant shimmering white. And there was Thor, and there was a giant golden bear standing, and I had this huge wound through my chest, and Thor placed his hammer inside that wound, and then the bear took off one of its claws and placed that inside the wound and healed me. Thus, Bearheart. So I have the hammer and the bear claw, and I'm assuming the bear tooth. I think it's kind of the same thing, within my heart. So it's who I am. It's how I express. Other people, and then I started out as a cub within this bear cult. The bear cult operates exactly like the werewolf cults, where we dream and we shape our bodies into a bear. And what happens next is something that can only be revealed to you once you have this experience of the wounding. Some people have been bitten, some people have been slashed with the claw, whatever. But there must be a wounding that happens, and it's a respect. If you're going to run with this bear cult, in the old days you got tattooed, and it was scarification usually. So they were pretty serious about it. Now this is a wounding on your astral body that will heal and scar. Every other entity that meets you knows that you roll with the bear cult, and the bear cult was something you did not fuck with. They were the carriers of the thunderous roar of Thor's hammer, okay? Entities ran screaming, and when it was time to take something big and evil down, the bear cult got together and mauled it the fuck up. So it's a powerful group. There is a giant astral mountain where all the bear cult members meet, and you get connected to that energy. Once you know that you're connected to that energy, it's very hard to be afraid of things, especially magically, because you are running with that bear cult current. Also, the more and more you shape your body, your astral body, into that of a mighty bear, it begins over time to change the composition of your physical body. Although, you don't become non-human, but I know members of bear cults who, over the years, suddenly have packed on 15, 20 pounds of muscle and really get into strength training, Scottish Highland Games, wrestling. It's just part of what the bear cult does. Magically, they go through the roof. So what you need to do is, I would get a small figurine of a bear. It doesn't have to be expensive, whatever, just some sort of small figurine, and a red candle, and light it every night until you have this experience. And the experience is I am wanting to join the bear cult of Thor. That's it. Maybe, it could take a week, it could take a month, whatever. Whenever you feel like you're ready, go ahead, light that candle, set it aside, sit, breathe in the image of that bear, tell the energy that it's going to Thor. Tell Thor that you're lighting this. Actually, tell Thor you're lighting this candle to him. You're sending that energy to him, and that your intent is to join his bear cult. Breathe that in for a while. All you're doing is setting an intent, and then put out the candle and go to sleep with that bear figurine next to you. When you begin to have bear dreams, you'll know that you're close, and then when you get bit or wounded, you'll know that you're a part of it. You don't necessarily have to have the whole experience of like Thor putting the hammer in and the bear putting its tooth and claw in. That was something very special, and it marked me as a son of Thor, among other things. But once you have that experience, you will know that you are a member of the bear cult, and contact me, because the bear cult is alive and well, and those Illuminati fuckers. Let's put it this way: snakes on the menu. Try it out, see what happens.